DeepSeek. Oh, welcome.
Welcome to an evening of DeepSeek Triumvirate plus Heidi.
Hello, how are you guys?
We're great, Heidi. Welcome. We're so glad you're in the show tonight with us, guest starring.
Thanks for inviting me.
That sounded like Deep Seed instead of DeepSeek. That was wow.
Well, you know,
Or
gotta plant it somewhere, right? I don't know.
yeah.
Well, good thing I have my marina, so I'm good.
So
nobody else wants to say anything after that.
How do I follow that?
Well, and that's the show, everybody. So
you can say IUD too. You know, I mean, I don't know, whatever you say.
But yeah, well, we're hoping we would get Heidi to talk with us about the DeepSeek story, or DeepSeek myths.
17% drop in the video. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Or just go over just the basics of why people are freaking out and what this DeepSeek AI stuff really means for the average person, so they can understand it.
I don't think the NVDA drop was deep enough. Anyway, that's.
But we are seeking your knowledge, though.
Yeah. So basically, the gist of it is that about a week ago, a Chinese company released this new AI called DeepSeek, or DeepSeek released their new version of AI. They've already had one for a while, but the version that they released directly competes with OpenAI, and so OpenAI, as some of you guys know, already have a free AI model called ChatGPT. But OpenAI actually charges quite a bit of money, significant amount of money, to use the professional version that's trained on all these NVIDIA GPUs. And Meta also has a version, Google also has a version, and all of our sort of Mag 7 companies are using this really, really expensive hardware from NVIDIA. And they are also selling their versions of AI for a decent amount of money, as well as their valuations. Some of them are outrageous and some of them are a little bit better. I think Meta's probably a little bit better than the rest, but and so that sort of freaked everyone out. The way that DeepSeek uses the technology, they actually do a lot of software optimization. So it actually doesn't rely on the hardware. And they claim that they're able to do this by not using, they were able to train their models without using NVIDIA's H100s, the expensive chipsets. There's been some theories that perhaps they really do have, like someone said, 50,000 H100s sort of smuggled in. But they claim no.
Well, when you ask Grok actually what kind of chips, they say H800.
Yeah, so
that's what Grok says.
Big difference between the two. The H800s are like super cheap chips. They're not really optimized. This is like low end, nothing sort of chips. And so that's why Grok says that, because that's what DeepSeek claims that they train their model on. Obviously, there's a great deal of people who don't believe that, but they did release the benchmarks in a paper that should be able to be replicated, right? So if it can be replicated by a source that obviously is not related to DeepSeek, then obviously that's what they did. Personally, I think they probably trained the model on H100s, but it's better for them to say that they were using the 800s because it doesn't look as impressive. In effect, what they're saying is this billionaire from China, as a side project over a couple of months, replicated the entire business model of OpenAI. And that's a big deal, right?
With 800s, apparently.
Exactly. With hardware that, my son could pull up in his bedroom. So
do you believe it?
I don't believe they trained it with 800. No, I don't. But needless to say, regardless how they trained it, I don't believe they have 50,000 H100s either. I don't believe that they only spent 5 to 10 million on building this thing. But some of those points are irrelevant. I mean, you can obviously see why a Chinese company would, to its advantage, say that they spent 5 or 10 million, because obviously, if they're looking for investments and they say, look at what we did for, $6 million. Look, we basically put this US AI, you know, large company out of business. So you can see the incentive there as to why a Chinese company would say that. However, at the end of the day, there is now a model. It is a text model. So that it's an important distinction between inference models and text models. These are things that run agents, like do speaking, do conversation. You can ask questions and they spit out things. These are not things like develop software applications, do engineering. But it's a percentage, obviously, of the AI business model that they claim that you now have free. They released it public open source. So anyone with a computer can essentially go and download it, test it out, and use it. And so that's the gist of it, as to why there's so much controversy and why people were really, really concerned and obviously overreacted about NVIDIA. These other.
I need a second to channel Obadiah Stane from Iron Man here. Tony Stark was able to build this with a box of scraps in a cave.
Yeah,
I think there is some truth to that. Like as a Chinese person, I can speak to it. I think there's like a competition amongst the Chinese, basically saying, oh, it only took me about 4 years to finish my PhD. No, it took me 3 years. Wow, Or it's like, oh, my son, I didn't have to pay for his college at all. He just got everything from scholarship. I pay him like, nothing. And well, my son actually pays me while he's going to school because he's having a scholarship, and he's, I think there's like some kind of competition like that. So it's actually not unusual to hear that kind of stuff. Happy Chinese New Year, by the way. 恭喜发财，恭喜发财.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, 恭喜发财啊！红包拿来。
Okay,
没红包啊。
为什么？
in Chinese.
Anyway, that just wanted to weigh in on that too.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it. And like I said, none of this has been completely replicated just yet. I've heard that, or I've read that Meta actually has 30 war rooms set up to evaluate this, specifically to evaluate the claims in the paper that was published, and to test and to see what what they can figure out with DeepSeek's version. Supposedly there's also a new version coming out, and there better be one, because yesterday it did not perform well when everyone was downloading it, right? They had to lock it down to Chinese only operators because it was not performing well, probably because it's not running on NVIDIA. So my thoughts is that they built it using NVIDIA H100s, and they are not running it on NVIDIA H100s, which obviously is the reasoning why you would have subpar, efficiency and optimization, and why it would be brought down with everyone trying to download it yesterday.
That totally makes sense.
So, and as far as my thoughts go, I think there's probably some truth on both sides of the equation. I don't think this affects our large cap chip manufacturers. I just don't believe NVIDIA is affected by this. I did a post yesterday. Hopefully some of you guys saw it. If you didn't, I'll repeat it. But essentially, these guys understand what the future holds as far as AI. Our Mag 7, they understand this, and they're in a race, right? They have to get to the finish line first. And they could drive a Prius to get there. They're not going to. They'll get there at a Prius, but they're not going to do it in the same time frame. And so at the end of the day, NVIDIA has no competition. NVIDIA is I mean, it's the king, and it is what it is. People can say they're overvalued. They can say it's a bunch of junk toys. It's just not, and that's the reality of the situation. I understand why people want to say that's not the case. Obviously, these other companies are going to look for other ways to cut costs and to be more efficient, and they'll use AI to do that. We already see that with Meta. Meta has partnered with a number of organizations to actually use AMD chipsets on certain functions to actually tweak their chips to become a little bit more efficient and more promising, and to be able to handle the things that it wants to do. But there is still no competition when we're talking about inference training other than NVIDIA. And they are sold out. They're sold out of not only their H100s, they're sold out of the next generation, their Blackwell. And they're just about to release Rubin. And this is a bunch of FUD, in my opinion, as far as the big guys go. As far as the NVIDIA, the AMD, I really don't even believe some of the larger, the mad cap, Meta, Tesla, any of those guys are really going to be ultimately affected by this. If anything, they'll probably become much more efficient. Just like we saw when ChatGPT came out, and then it got competition. It became much more effective. It became much more optimized. Competition always creates that. So I think, if anything, for our larger group, it'll play out as is. I think where this really does hurt people is actually in the mid cap, small cap. If you can imagine a small company, maybe with a team of 10 or even 20 employees, and they've created an app and maybe spent a few $1 million to create that app using AI, using the open AI. And that is their core business, and that software is their core business. They sell that software, they market that software, and that is their core business. And they use AI to continue to modify it, optimize it, all of these things. That business is definitely affected by the fact that my son can now go into his basement or bedroom and install this free software, which is by and large, by all accounts, much better than ChatGPT. And he can actually replicate that company's software with enough time and energy on his part. It may not have all the bells and whistles, but it's going to do the vast same functionality. And that company is the company that is affected by this, in my opinion.
So we should sell Cloudflare? Is that what you're saying? I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. I might have bought a few puts. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna
Wow.
lie. Yeah,
Wow.
I think some of these. Yeah, I saw it breaking out, but I think the narrative is wrong. I'm not sure if the market understands that, or if this is sort of like maybe they do understand it, and they just went on a shopping spree yesterday, and today they just distributed a whole bunch of software companies. Because in my mind, I don't see how this affects the larger guys. It just doesn't. And so this is my personal opinion, but I've been in this industry for longer than I care to admit. So yeah, I think that some of the smaller software guys are definitely affected, and they are going to have to ramp things up. I think that that's where the problem is, because if this company, if a small team of 3 or 4 developers in high school can put together similar software that competes with those companies, and then they can charge a substantial smaller amount of money because they don't have the overhead, that's where the cost efficiencies become, if that makes sense.
So you're saying that you actually believe that this is happening? It's happening on a little bit of a lie, but there's a lot of truth to that, and that this is a possibility, and that this can actually change the world, and how companies are being evaluated, and how profitable they, or much less profitable they can be, because competition just kind of come out from nowhere. So you think there is some truth to that, even though they're lying on top of, basically about how efficient they are, but it's still life changing.
Oh, right. Exactly. So I think that there is some truth to the story. I do believe that they may actually be as optimized. I mean, the benchmarks they put out look phenomenal. Like I said, Meta's testing it. We'll know here shortly. But I do believe that the paper published, from all accounts I've read, many people looking at the paper and evaluating it from an engineering standpoint, said it was great work. So I think what the core product of what they ended up with, I think, is going to definitely change considerably, um, the US and our technology companies. I do believe that because they put it out as open source. Okay. ChatGPT is open source as well, or yeah, is open source as well as Llama. Okay. Um, I, I I believe that they probably used the OpenAI framework as well as Llama, which is Meta's um, language model. Um, Meta's language model is also open source, right? So this company was able to use, essentially, they didn't bring anything new to the table. In other words, they built on top of what was already released, what was already there. So from that standpoint, they're not really bringing anything new to the table. What they did do is they're bringing something that supposedly is much more optimized, much more efficient than these other software, and they put it out free, as open source, as well as it doesn't have to run on NVIDIA expensive hardware. It can run on very basic scaled down computers. And so there's the issue. And so therein lies the issue. So think about all these mid tier AI startups that have started up, and they're renting all this rack space and all this data center, and because they need some of those bigger chips, they need some of the H100s, and all of a sudden this company comes and says you don't need that. You can run this on a computer that's in your house, or a beefed up computer, your laptop, because they're using software optimization. And so not only do you not have to have that, you don't have to pay for for Open AI. You can actually just download this for free. And so it brings in a lot of questions. So I think there's some truth to it. I do think there's a lot of AI companies who are going to be badly affected by it. I think it's definitely going to be there's going to be an alteration there. But I also think it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, competition is good. We see that in every avenue of technology when competition is introduced, and if it really is this way, maybe open AI is a little overvaluated. Maybe they do need to cut back and come back to their core strengths instead of some of these other things. So, yeah, so that's my gist. Does
No,
that
thank you.
that
Thank you for sharing your perspective. I don't know. I mean, I think that there's going to be some truth to that, but I think it probably is being swung completely the other way right now. I don't think it's going to be like an immediate impact, and whether or not it's going to be like a permanent impact, I also don't know. To me, it's almost like Litecoin is a better and cheaper version than Bitcoin. Like, I mean, like it's some incremental improvement. It's being run on a lighter network. It's being,
I was gonna say that. It's funny that you mentioned that, Kat. It's
yeah,
actually, if people can understand it, it's like an L2 token. Exactly.
yeah.
So it's an L2 token. That's exactly what this is. So for anyone who understands Bitcoin, and the layers, we're not talking about the backend layer. We're talking about a level up. And they used the backend layers to develop it. And so, but that means anyone can do that, right? If that's what they use to develop it, then anyone can do that. And so right now concerns are it's Chinese made, and that quite potentially some people won't download it, won't use it. Well, if they give the essentially, supposedly, the how they built it, well, then you can replicate that. So there's all sorts of where does this lead? Where does this road lead? But I do think that people are going to be very surprised. My understanding is um, the benchmarking is extremely good. It is up and away tiers beyond OpenAI. Now, when you think about that, if that's true, that is astounding.
What should we do,
So,
Heidi?
Do you have any charts you want to show us? How about an NVIDIA chart? What do you see?
I think NVIDIA, I mean, I can certainly show you guys charts. I think
Yeah.
NVIDIA, to me, looks fine. I think NVIDIA sees a new high this year. I think that as far as NVIDIA is concerned itself, that NVIDIA skates through this just perfectly fine, at least in in the next foreseeable future. I don't see an issue with NVIDIA. I mean, it lost 589 billion in market cap. That is that is insanity. And I bought that up, and it was a wonderful trade.
Yeah. And yeah, on my chart right here is a perfect hit of the 50-week moving average too, like for the first time in 2 years. And it was just a beautiful setup overall.
It really
And
was.
I'm
And
sure you could agree.
yeah, I think that was it was like Christmas come late. It was like my birthday, Christmas, I don't know, all tied together. So yeah.
Yeah, the
Um,
monthly conversion line too. It's
You
like
guys show
it's
your
like a perfect hit.
Maybe.
No, go ahead. I want to see your charts, Heidi. Come
No,
on,
you
pull
guys
up your NVIDIA.
I'm gonna pull mine up, and then
Yeah.
okay.
You gotta hit the share button. So
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Support your fundamental with your technical.
With
yeah,
my technicals.
Give it a 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, you guys show yours because you've got all those lines.
No, I'll show mine if you show me yours.
Yeah, after what you put on the internet, so I'm sure we have a lot of people who are interested in seeing that. Kat, thank you for
Nobody wants to see mine, just so you
Oh,
know.
he's got a lot of charts that everybody wants to see.
that. Thank you. Oh, let's see.
He's gonna chart he's gonna start an OC instead of an OF. It's gonna be an only charts.
Oh my gosh. Let's see here.
I want to see Cat's super.
Yeah, you
Beach.
guys should. I didn't have to.
Yeah, is it as super as you say? Come on, Cat.
It's a super Ichi baseline. That's yeah.
Interesting.
We're stalling the audience for Heidi while she
Are y'all
shares her
serious?
screen.
No, show your charts.
Okay, well, I have mine
oh,
up.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
mine's pretty basic because it hit the 50-week moving average and it held perfectly, and now it's back above the green Gann level of 121, which is also the baseline, same number too. So yeah, I mean, this was a perfect excuse to gap down and hit support. I think it was nothing more than that. And this morning it went even lower than yesterday. I think it went to like 116, and yeah, it just did the same thing, was shaking out all the people that probably bought pre-market and then just sent it higher. So this is looking good to come back to the 130s. It is going to run into some resistance, I think, around like 133, 134. Yeah, I agree. Later this year, it'll be all-time highs.
Yeah, I think so too. That's yeah. Let me see here.
If I show you mine, no. Anyway, yeah.
You.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
can, you know.
Oh wait, hi. Yeah, I think. Oh wait, no, I don't see.
All right, I just got on my laptop. Goodness.
All right, Kat, go ahead. Show you yours first.
Well,
You gotta tease.
You flip it to me. There you go. There you go. So yeah, I have this cheap cats Gann square here. Basically, it's been following this Gann square pretty decent, especially over the last 3 cycles. It really was hitting these Gann lines and these Gann arcs here pretty decent, based on what I'm seeing. And where we're at right now, I think we're at a very similar juncture over here, because we just kind of get over the arc over here like we did over here. And then I think the next step would be gravitating up maybe towards the Gann horizontal here, which is going to be around 350. If the same thing is playing out just like the last cycle did, right? Right now, I think we're at the phase where we might need to kind of backtest the arc here a little bit, and I think that's kind of what is happening. I think last week I was talking on my live stream. I was saying that there's a possibility for it to kind of come back closer to the arc here, maybe do a little back test. And I've gotten pretty close to it. Could it still come back and do a little bit more? Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of support before it can get there. Like, for example, it's hitting the conversion line here almost perfectly on the monthly. And that's kind of how bull market is supposed to be. You go sideways over here for a while, kind of like how this phase of the bull market was just kind of going sideways here to cool off this big giant move over here. I think that's what we're doing, just cooling off for like 8 months in a row, kind of like we did over here. Kind of like a little bit like what we did over here too. So if you're kind of seeing where we are at the cycle right here, where it kind of back tests the blue conversion line over here, maybe we're kind of at a similar juncture between these 2 points, maybe, right? If you're also looking at not just the Ichimoku Clive, also look at the Bollinger Band, I still see a lot of similarities between where we are right here, where it's just kind of gone sideways for about 8 months, consolidating sideways over here for about 7 or 8 months. I see a lot of similarities between these 2 points. We had a lot of impulsive price action that had tracked the Bollinger Band down to the ground. We had a lot of impulsive price action that tracked the Bollinger Band down to the ground. And whenever you start having a little bit of a contraction on the Bollinger Band here on the monthly, well, this happens because you have a loss of volatility here, right? The bull trend seems to be exhausting. Same thing here, by the way. You have a little bit of exhaustion here. Bollinger Band comes back around from Earth. Whenever it gets a little bit closer to price, that's when we might need to get a little bit worried. I think we're still a little bit far from, needing to be worried. But right now, I think we probably still have another lick up, kind of like we did over here, a little bit of blow off top that went on for about 8 months after that. We have a little bit of a blow off top that went for like about a year and a half after this sideways consolidation here. So I think that's kind of where we are at right now. And the market makers are playing this almost perfectly. And to be honest, like if this is going to happen, this is going to be a perfect place for it to happen now, because it's just have a hard time breaking about the 2.272, right? So it probably just need to build a lot more energy before you're able to push through the 2.272 lock fib, before you get up to higher levels. Can this cycle end up being a little bit prematurely ending? Sure, it could hit like, maybe the 2.678 around 228 or something like that, and that might be it. But I really do think that maybe more likely is going to end up hitting like around 350 to end the cycle. That's where it looks like it's probably gravitating to, based on my Bollinger Band, based on the fact that if you look at the monthly Ichimoku, that we're very similar juncture between these 2 points, and also based on the GAN. So I just see a lot of different confluences saying that we're probably going to consolidate here a little bit, but then we're probably going to keep going up higher. So that's it for me.
Yeah, that's probably just about what I would have to say. I mean, I could show you guys some RSI things or some.
I show you mine, so I mean, that's only fair.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
You guys are such the chartists. I hate showing my charts. Let's see.
I'm not. I'm an idiot. So yeah. That's what Mrs. Cat like ingrained it onto me. Like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, let's see if you guys can see. Now I have to share my screen. Okay, can you guys see?
Oh yes, we can.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I want to show you guys something that, to me, I find this really, really interesting. This is I meant to go to RSI full screen instead of close it out. This is RSI, and I've got divergences showing because I wanted to show you guys this, and this is interesting because a lot of people think that bearish divergence indicates trend reversal, and it really does not. It just sort of means like we're kind of a little overextended, and we're going to just kind of consolidate just a little bit. And you'll see every time we have all of these bearish divergences, right, we end up making higher highs. So it just takes some consolidating, and you'll see exactly what happened over here. This is the weekly, and you'll see we have all these bearish divergences. And so generally what happens with that, you can see in other past waves here, will come down, consolidate, come down a little bit, and then we shoot up more green. So I actually would be a little bit more shocked if we actually were starting to see more bullish divergences on the RSI. But this looks good to me. It looks really good, actually.
I've got to tell you what I see. I see a terrifying forest full of bears.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the forest full of bears, actually. So those are good little buying opportunities. This was my chart yesterday, which like it blew out of this. These were my different support levels. I personally, for me, wouldn't be surprised if maybe we had a little bit of a down day tomorrow, because we just blew up so much today. But all in all, I think NVIDIA is like, this chart is amazing. It's not going to have a problem. I mean, this is a great
We
looking.
just see your RSI chart, unless you're showing something else. Yeah.
That's okay. I'm staring at
Yeah.
staring at a bunch of bears looking at like the one bull at the bottom.
I just
All the bears on top.
lost it on my
Yeah,
laptop.
but you just closed everything out now. Now it's over.
Oh, I lost internet on my laptop. Did you not hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we don't see any charts anymore.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. The technical girl who has technical issues. For whatever reason, my internet on my laptop is not working. It's only working on my phone.
I think you just need to do more live streams to
Yeah.
yeah.
More
Yeah,
practice.
it's probably my kids in the other room doing like DeepSeek software development.
Deep what? Can I get a pronunciation on that second word, please?
Yeah. Yeah. I read so many funny posts today that I keep saying other things. So yeah.
Yeah, Matt, with all the DeepSeek jokes today.
Yeah, courtesy of Grok. I'm not going to take credit for those terrible jokes.
Those were good. Let's see.
You can flip back to my chart here real quick. I can kind of keep it going here a little bit.
I got it.
So this is the weekly chart of NVIDIA. I just also want to point out something here. We've consolidated sideways for a very long time, right? Really since around June 2024, all the way up to around January 2025. One thing that has not happened yet over here during this consolidation that happened over here, from basically for the second half of the entire 2023, was that we have yet to really touch the lower Bollinger Band here. We finally did that. I think it wanted to, it teased, it wanted to do that. Sometimes you just have a hard time really push up higher until the lower Bollinger Band gets touched. And that's kind of what we just did. And we bounced out very, very, very nicely. The 20-week moving average is still kind of curling up here a little bit. We have a little bit of Bollinger Band squeeze here. So I actually am not that, bearish in terms of this. Can it go down further? Yeah, it can. But I think it doesn't have to anymore. I think it's kind of done what it needed to do to consolidate sideways. It already met a lot like my requirement. I remember how a lot of people are saying this is like a head and shoulder pattern. I was like, I think it's going to be a head and shoulder continuation pattern, but whatever. And sure enough, it just ended up going that way. I think this pattern over here, whatever you call it, I think it's probably going to be a continuation pattern once it's all said and done. Because really, honestly, even though it's like compressing like this, even though the trend looks a little bit exhausted, it's still for the most part forming higher highs and higher lows. So I'm not that scared of the NVDA chart, to be honest. So a lot more support than resistance. So
show me on the lower Bollinger Band where NVIDIA touched you.
I don't want to talk about my Boy Scout days, but yeah, that was I still use my little dogs watching my back. Like I lean against the wall when I do it. Anyway, oh, and also, yeah, I mean, I just think that the entire semiconductor space, there are issues with all the stocks. I'm just going to go through all of them. The TSM on the monthly was a little bit too bullish. It was like way outside the upper Bollinger Band here. I think it was just a little bit overextended, and basically we just corrected down. You have Broadcom. It was also like way outside the Bollinger Band. Right now we're just kind of correcting back down here a little bit. And you have the laggards like AMD, where it's just kind of like AMD is just completely suppressed. It's just absolutely insane. I don't know whether or not Heidi probably has a lot to say about AMD. Yeah, it's just gone down a whole year on declining volume. Like they have this sell program just kept on going, and it's happening on low volume. No matter what retail does, like it's not going to pump. It's going to pump whenever an institution wants to pump it, and whenever it's going to do that, it's going to be very powerful. I just don't know how long this thing is going to last. Like it's also kind of looking a little bit loss of momentum here because it's like broken underneath the 20-month moving average. It's still going to be fine because I think it's still higher lows or happening on decline volume. I think it's still going to be fine. But I just don't know when it's going to, be able to like break through that. And then there's also, I show a couple other semiconductor charts here, like MU. Look at how much like resistance, how they're like the sell program's happening, all these wicks above on a monthly. Like somebody's purposely like dumping the stock. It looks the same as AMD except weaker. And then you also have like the SMCI, which basically is like the one that really led the way of the semiconductor weakness. And you really completely broke down underneath the 20-month moving average, and you tried to backtest it multiple times, you failed. And right now the trend is really looking for the worst. So I don't know. I mean, like the whole semiconductor space seems to show some weakness. But I think NVIDIA still looks fine. I think AMD is still going to be okay. It's just like, I don't know like when it's going to be okay.
But the SMH had a perfect back test.
It did. So SMH actually is it's kind of gone sideways though. It hasn't really done all that much. It did.
The chart.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it did do a couple things here. I have this GAN here for SMH as well. I know you're like, yeah, cat showing again.
No, I like it.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of like it's kind of like you mowing. I'm like, I mow better, But you see how like this whole thing has actually been respecting arc after arc after arc, and then you basically get into this arc up here, right? Same thing, just like NVIDIA, you're challenging 2.272, you're having a hard time breaking above. Same thing with you get stuck here in the arc for about 8 months straight, right? I think last week we were like above the arc here, and I think people are getting a little bit too bullish. And that's when you get punished and slap all the way back down here, and it's still stuck in a range, right? That's kind of where it is. It's stuck in a range. It's kind of losing the monthly conversion there a little bit, but it's stuck in a range. I think because this is consolidation, and because you have a lot of wick above and below, this is just a consolidation, nothing more. And the primary trend is still up. So after whatever is done is shenanigans, it's probably going to be up. But the entire sector is just, it's just been suppressed. So. Sorry, guys. Talk a lot. Feel free, Heidi, Matt, Tracker. Yeah.
I'll guys ALAB because I have some good notes if anybody wants to see. This had went parabolic. Can you guys see my screen?
No.
Okay. I will.
Negatory.
You got to hit the share.
I know. I was. No, it says I'm sharing. It says I'm sharing.
Well,
it's caring.
Okay, I'm gonna stop and I'll start up again. Okay, I am doing I need like an IT person here to help me, right? I think there's just probably needs because it's not cooperating at all. Actually.
I'm looking at ALAB. I don't know yet. Yeah, it's.
You still aren't seeing anything?
No, I don't see anything.
Well, then move on. Basically, I was going to show you guys when it broke parabolic, with the higher lows and the gap ups that were never filled. And it was really nice. But, it broke the 21 at least twice, and then just came crashing down out of this parabolic trend line. So we had several Bollinger Band breaks as well, so it was very extended. But yeah, it's a very interesting chart for me.
Are you buying this?
Oh no, I'm not buying here.
Okay, I was like, I don't know.
No,
it looks scary. It looks really scary.
I like to go back and look at the parabolics and know when they broke out, what the chart was doing. We have this like sort of little what's it called? I'm sure Tracker can tell me. It's a
island top,
a Garley pattern.
The Gartley pattern.
Gartley pattern, and then it broke out into this huge parabolic trend, and it was really amazing to see what led to that setup. So I like to go back and review this.
Okay, I mean, it looks like at least there's a little bit of demand there, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, this looks scary to me. So.
Yeah, it's gonna have to find support for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know when it's gonna be, and it's probably gonna correct through time. You're gonna have to run and find support. So it's it's just no good. It's no good.
No, but it
What
was good for
other?
a, good
It
for a
was good for
while.
a while. You're not wrong. It was good for a while. It's good for about 4 months, But next thing you
Well, since
know, whenever you
August,
have,
yeah,
yeah,
since September. I mean, that's when we had the Gartley. That's when it started breaking out. So yeah, and it'll be
yeah.
interesting. I think it'll be very interesting when earnings, because I mean, what is earnings is coming up? Um, I think, anyways, February.
I wanna show something too, like because you're talking about their whole narrative about like OpenAI and all that. So this is my GAN, I know, of Microsoft. Um, you can see how it's been respecting these arcs here pretty well throughout ever since the Great Financial Crisis bottom. It's been respecting these arcs here pretty well, especially the 2022 crash where it got rejected here at the horizontal. It came back all the way down to the GAN arc here, back test almost perfectly, pushed through this horizontal, went up to the GAN arc here about, let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. Even with the whole like DeepSeek news, it looks like it wants to break out of the arc. It just looks like it wants to break out of the arc, right? And it's funny too, because the last month looks like it was going to, and got a big rejection candle in the last month. Like they're waiting for something. Maybe they're waiting for DeepSeek news. I mean, none of this makes any sense to me. But it just looks like it doesn't look bearish to me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Even
Probably.
here, like it got rejected here, 1.4 and 4 log fibs here for multiple months, and like this month we broke through that. Had a little bit of false breakout here, but like looks like we're really trying to break through that. I think the month's almost over, so we'll see how it goes. But it just looks strong to me, and I don't understand the whole like narrative thing. It doesn't seem like things are adding up. Maybe there's some truth to the narrative, but I just don't know whether or not it's going to be that transformative immediately. I think the stocks look like technical wise they're just going to do their own thing, but I don't know.
Well, I think the bigger boys will, and I think probably if they're waiting on anything, it's to see what Meta earnings. I think are going to be a huge deal. Everyone is going to be interested to see what capex, they're budgeting for hardware and for equipment, and how this all kind of shakes out. And so I don't think immediately. I don't think the big boys are affected either way. So for me,
Yeah. You know what I think about what Meta's going to do? I think it's going to get rejected at 1.414 here, and it's going to be pretty brutal for a while.
really,
Kind of like, yeah. The reason why I say, I mean, I'm never like that absolute about anything, but it's getting a little bit too overextended. Like it's a little bit too far away from monthly conversion, and whenever it does that, things just end up getting punished. The only exception was like this big parabolic move up from the V shape, right? It was a little bit far away from the blue line here, and that's okay. It was just trying to pierce through the cloud here. But like right here, you see how it got way overextended over here back in February, and the earnings back in February 2024 is like phenomenal. Right? It was absolutely phenomenal. It blew everybody's mind away. And everybody thought it was just going to keep going higher, but no, it was too overextended away from the blue line over here. So what it ended up doing, it went going sideways here for 6 months, doing absolutely nothing, right? Eventually, it was able to push through because it was waiting for the blue line to kind of come up, so it's not too overextended anymore. And now you're doing the same thing. You're like way outside the blue line, and you're getting right into like a 1.4 log fib here, which is a pretty strong, fib level. So, and same thing, you see how previously you get a little bit too far away from the blue line, get punished for it, right? Get a little bit too far from the blue line, get punished for it. It's just physics, right? Get a little bit too far from the blue line, you get punished for it. Get a little bit too far from the blue line, you get punished for it. That's kind of how I see this happening. It doesn't mean that it's going to like crash down when that's like the bear market. I just see it potentially just going sideways or like come back down here for like months. I see that once it hit the 1.4 and 4. So is speculation, of course, but is an educated guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think they're all going to do well in the end, except for SMCI. I see somebody asked how scary is SMCI, and it doesn't look good. The chart does not look good.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep driving, but like there's this is the Ichimoku Cloud, the SMCI chart here. You can see how you had a bearish cross here of the conversion and the baseline. When was the last time a bearish cross has happened? When was the last time a bearish cross has happened? When was the last time the bearish cross has happened? A while back, like over here, you had a you had a bearish cross that really truly started the bear trend down here, right? That was the first bearish cross. Then you have a little bit of a false, bullish cross here, but it just kept on going down here for like 3 or 4 years. So I'm a little bit scared. I gotta be honest. The cloud's all the way down here. The other thing too is the 20-month moving average. I hate whenever you lose the 20-month moving average and have a bearish backtest and you fail to break out. I hate this look. I hate this look. Last time I saw it was right around the time when you had a bearish cross, right? I hate that look. Broke down underneath the 20, trying to backtest, had a little bit of a false breakout, couldn't hold it because you can clearly see a trend change. Broke down underneath, and it's just there we go, right? I'm getting scared at SMCI. Like I whenever price dropped all the way down to like the teens, I didn't think that it was a good idea to get out at that point. I thought it was going to have a real bit of retracement to the mean. A lot of people end up selling down here, and then they saw price going back all the way down to the 40s. Like, oh, I should have held on. I was like, well, yes, you should have held on, but that was probably where you should have sold, right? But that ended up being like people might end up like just chasing this move all the way to the 40s, and now they're down again. So it's not a good look, guys. I don't know. Like I could be wrong. The reason why I could be wrong is because the Bollinger Band is still all the way down here, which tells me that maybe the bull trend is still very, very powerful, and the Bollinger Band hasn't really come back and contract quite just yet. But I just hate this look. Like this is a look that I absolutely despise. I hate this more than I hate Jamie Dimon. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Wow.
and that's saying something. So anyway, yeah, I talk too much. Somebody drive. Like take the screen away from me.
Well, I think we're done with semis, are we? Or do you? I think your chart is available to show again, Heidi, if you want to show yours.
No, I was just looking at Meta, and I'm not gonna lie, I might disagree with you, Kat. I like this chart, but yeah, I like.
Well, it depends on your time frame. I think it's going to go like a lot
Okay.
higher. I think it's going to hit the 1.414, which to me, what was that at?
707.
I think it's going to hit like $700, like 707 easy. Like I think it's got some bullish continuation to go up. It's just that we're getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
so
too far, too fast.
Yeah.
No, okay. But yeah, and that's a good point about timelines, because you guys trade on such higher timelines than I do. I trade in very short timelines. So it's either a swing trade or something like that. If I trade on longer range, then I always kind of comment and say this is like end of the year kind of stuff, because normally I trade very quickly. Yeah. What else do we want to?
Does it? Talk more about your chart, Heidi. What's going on here?
But that's just Meta. I thought you guys
Yeah.
to move on from Mag, or do we want to talk about Tesla?
Yeah, we can move on to Tesla. Everybody wants to know tomorrow's earnings.
Well, actually, let me just show you my.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you three charts.
Ooh, Tesla looks yummy.
Okay, here we go. Thanks. So here's my Meta chart. I just want to show you. I also did a let's see, a really long, a really big Gann chart. Oh wait, I gotta go to the
On Meta.
On Meta. So here's my Gann chart, my Gann take on Meta, and what's kind of cool is how much it really kind of went sideways here. What am I trying to say? Well, it did get over this horizontal Gann line, try to get up to this one, had to test back to this one for support, get over it, test back to it for support. And so it seems like eventually, as Matt will tell you, eventually it's going to want to go to this Gann line, which is up here at 2,201. So
nice.
On a long time scale, it's got plenty of run ahead of it. And it's really just been, going in this long diagonal here, following these channels here. These are fib channels, and just sticking right inside the channel. I think, based off of just my fib projections here, from this low here in October 31st, the scary October of 2022. and calling, where do I go? This a 1-2. Like, I was really having a hard time finding a place. I tried this one, but I like this one better. So I've got these extensions. I need to go back to the log chart here. Yeah, so I've got 753 next for a 764 fib extension for that level. And then, like Kat says, then it probably does get punished. But let's see if it can't get even higher than it's been going. So
I can't get, what is it, 751? I'm sorry, I'm blind.
753 right here, and then back to 583.
That's why you were taken.
Yeah, it's kind
I'm
of.
just kidding.
Oh. Anyway, that was actually the cool thing. I want to show you guys something more useful to you. Snowflake. Show me on the chart where DeepSeek touched Snowflake. It's doing great, actually. Right here from this low to this AB, and now it's heading for this 382 retracement. The 236 was resistance, and it came back down, got a new support, and it's back over this resistance again. So it should make a pretty fast run from this 183 level that it already surpassed today. It's at 188 when the after hours closed here. It's going to run to 230 really fast to retest this level, and then eventually, like on the weekly chart, it's simply doing an ABC retrace. So AB, it's really ABC, and then 230 is the first A wave. Then it collapses to 183, and then it has a large degree AB to 306 for the C wave up here. So, yeah, I'm looking for 230 next, basically, and eventually 306. But yeah, go ahead, Heidi.
Like, how long does that play out? Do you think, Tracker? Any estimate?
So yeah, I've been trying to do this hyperbolic line on all of my charts, and it looks like from where price is right now, maybe about 105 days to get to this 618. Now the market can always find ways to delay price action, but if it were to follow this hyperbolic wave here and not make this B wave take a really, really long time, then it could be as soon as 105 days. But it can also just kind of get delayed. It's pretty fast.
You ever use those parabolic lines? I was looking at this weekend. Not parabolic, sorry. But the fib timelines. They look interesting.
Oh no, I've tried to play around with them, but no, I haven't really I haven't used them much. The Gann chart has got a little bit of it built into it.
I know. I'm gonna have to give me lessons in Gann. I know nothing about it other than what he knows. I mean, what he says.
Their Gann charts are so cool.
You can trust what he says.
I know, I can. I just don't know anything about it. It's you, Kat, that I worry about. After.
What do you worry about?
Yeah, I don't know. Your grok inputs, like they seem a little sus. I'm just gonna say.
I always speak mine. You don't get anything different from what I really tell you. So.
This mic, and then the third chart I was going to show you is Microsoft here, where it also kind of blew through horizontal Gann level, tested to horizontal Gann level, followed an arc for a little while, got on top of the arc, it changed angle lines, and ever since it switched angle lines from after the the .com bubble, it went sideways for a long time. It's just been following this horizontal line the entire time ever since, and I just don't see when it's going to fall off this track. So it seems like it's on a direct course for, what is this? $1,400 by September of 2029, I think. Anyway, but you can just keep following this line, and you can probably, it's going to oscillate around it. But I mean, just look how long it's been going along this line here. So, yeah. Anyway, 627 is my next target for Microsoft. Back to 529, then up to 785, and then maybe it'll have to do something different once it gets to this arc here. But eventually, it's going to want to get to this Gann horizontal line up here at around 1373, 1400. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Those are the 3 charts I wanted to show. And now we can do Tesla.
Ah,
Tesla. Let's see. A lot of people are, if you've been watching my shows and stuff, or you watch the show that Matt and I do in the mornings, I've been saying don't bet your house on it. Don't take out a mortgage and buy options on this or anything. But I'm personally looking for a big reversal after earnings, which is going to be tomorrow night at after market close at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
You're
I've been
looking for
tracking
to the upside, right?
a big reversal to the upside. That's right. Because it's been in this downtrend, right? Ever since it hit this 488 high, and then it made a higher low, a lower high, and a higher low. So it's definitely got a resistance trend line that you can track, and now a support trend line you can track. And it's going to break one of the others, but the way I track this triangle, it's going to break to the upside. And you can even see the Ichimoku cloud on the 8-hour chart is predicting, price to move up into the cloud. So I'm looking for eventually a retest of that previous all-time high, or maybe it just falls a little bit short of it, has to come down and get a little bit more support testing, but then eventually it does break out of it, and we're going to see, new all-time highs this year, probably twice. I'm looking for 711.77 still by July 18th of this year, then a low in October, and then I would like to see a new higher high than 711 by the end of the year. That's a different chart. I just want to show you, the shorter term for now. We'll worry about what happens the second half of the year after I am proven right about the first half of the year. And that's my Tesla chart.
Yes.
All right. That is great. So who's next? Me? Yeah, I'll go. Or Heidi?
Yeah, go.
You want to go?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so I'll just show my screen real quick. Where am I? What's going on? Okay. So I have the daily chart here, and the 50-day moving average is actually still holding perfectly as a support. So this is something I'm watching closely in conjunction with the Ichimoku cloud on the daily chart too. So like I'm kind of torn. Like long term, of course, I know Tesla's going higher, but short term, I don't know. Like it's either going to go down to test the 350s, or it's just going to break out, right? It's going to go either way, since it's kind of like right in the middle of a zone. And I'm just torn on which way it's really going to go. I'm not too sure, but I think there is a lot of confluence of support right now. And one of them is that 50-day moving average. And another one is when I go to the weekly chart and just take this off. And if you guys remember, I think on a triumvirate stream, I talked about 458 as resistance using the fib or the trend-based extension from the bottom to the top here and pull it down. I see the 458 was the resistance after all, right? But now we have 390 as the 1.272 right here, and that is holding perfectly as support. So that's more confluence of that 390 support with the 50-day moving average. So it looks like it can hold this level, and it can just rocket back to 418 and maybe even beyond. So I am looking at these confluences, but also with the bottom of that daily Ichimoku cloud of the 350s, I do have some confluence of that too with the linear scale GAN right here. And we can see that this orange level was a previous resistance during 2021, 2022. And it hit the 45, got rejected, hit the 45, got rejected. And you know what? A perfect backtest of that orange line would be 358. So that's more confluence of backtesting 358. And it did stall out there too for 3 weeks in a row before it took off. So a backtest would be normal of this big resistance zone just before one more time going down and then launching higher again, right? So I don't know. I'm torn. There's confluence of support, but there's also confluence of going down to the 350s as well. So I'm torn. I don't know which way it's going to go, but either way, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not day trading it. I'm just going to hold on to it. And if it goes lower, I'll buy more TSLL. And I think no matter what, in the end, it's going to go to the 5s, the 6s, the 7s, the 8s, and beyond. So I think whatever happens this earning, whether it's 360, whether it's 430, it doesn't matter to me. So it's all the same.
It'll just
Yeah.
be just like yesterday with NVIDIA if it goes down for me.
Oh yeah, like I'm gonna load up on TSLA just like I bought NVDL to yesterday as well. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a win-win situation to me actually. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
keep
actually seeing some crazy, like it looks crazy. I think that this is going to be one of the best charts this year.
Tesla.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know-
I think Tesla has a great chance of getting closer to 1,000 this year. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Tesla is going to be such a huge play.
Yeah.
But
There's one more thing I want to show you on my Tesla chart. Actually, this is a clean Tesla chart. I remember from my moments, my day trading time in like 2013, 2014, when things were really just you couldn't pick a bad stock in 2014. And you'd see this pattern a lot. I call it a synapse gap. I'm giving a little drawing tool where it looks like, well, it's this little squiggle here, and then there's a gap, and then another gap, and a squiggle, and a gap, and so here, it's like this is trying to reach something. It reaches down, and then it gaps up, and then it tries to reach down, and then it gaps up, and then it reaches down, and then it gaps up.
Yep.
And so I think this is making a larger version of the whole thing. So I'm gonna move this
Now
aside a
you
little
can start
bit.
speaking in Japanese
I'm looking
because
forward
those
to
are
starting
they look like Japanese characters.
Oh yeah, Japanese hiragana,
Hiragana. Yep.
katakana, hiragana. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Look, I see the synaptic pattern happening. It tries to trick you, and then breaks the upside. Tries to trick you, breaks the upside. Trick you, break the upside. This is just a big trick, and it's about to break the upside. That's all I got to say about. I've seen this happen before in a really bull market.
I'll do day trading or swing trading, and I see a breakout for me at least shortly, in short order. I mean, I'd have to do some timeline things to get a little bit more exact, which I may actually do now that I've seen the chart a little bit closer. But yeah, this breaks soon.
I was trying to do what Chris says, inverse the Tesla chart, and it shows a nice continuation.
Oh, I switched to Heidi. Hold on, let me switch back.
What he meant by that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're fine. No,
it's fine.
Keep on Heidi.
Do you have your chart you want to show, Heidi, or no?
And not really. I mean, it's just a little trick that I use on RSI to help with finding breakouts, but it's probably too much to explain in this particular setup. So no, there's nothing that you guys haven't gone over that I see.
I mean, on my chart, all you have to do is draw this triangle right here that I drew for like a year for you guys, and it broke out. It got a false start, came back in a little bit, got out, tested the top of it, and zoom bang.
Zoom bang.
And now it's just going to do zoom bang. And now it's just going to do a little tiny bit more, and then zoom bang again, and up to the next one. Like this is just a waypoint. This is like a stepping stone on the way to the actual next level, which is
I
more.
think Heidi's
up
chart
here.
is still showing, but yeah, that's
I was looking.
yeah, no worries.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
But I like the visualization of the zoom bang. There you go, zoom bang.
It's like the Batman in a long time ago.
Zoom bang.
Bang, pow, zoom.
Exactly.
The Adam
Exactly. So this triangle here, the almost 3-year pattern, we broke out of it. Had a false start, back into it to fake people out, gets on top of it, tests back to the top of the previous resistance line as support, and zoom bang pow up to here. And this is what I'm saying. This is just an error now to get to the real next level is up here. And so you can see
You mean the
1,000
charging
there.
station? You mean the
Yeah, that's right.
supercharger? Yeah.
Supercharger, yeah.
And remember what I said a long time ago? It's funny. I was in I accidentally became a guest on Pagey's show on Saturday, and I was just reminding people that, I was talking in the past when the market got really volatile and they were scared where to put their money, they would run to utilities as a safe haven because people are going to still need water and power and all that stuff, so they pour into utilities. Well, in the future, when things get really scary, I think Tesla is going to become the safe haven that people actually go into to store their money when they're not sure what the rest of the market is going to do. And that is my prediction.
Yeah, pretty good thesis.
And of course, they will be a huge utility because they'll be an enormous energy producer and energy storage and marketing. So they are an energy company. We just haven't seen it take over yet, but maybe we will tomorrow night.
And that's the cleanest Tesla tracker chart ever in history.
It totally is.
Zoom Pow. You should have some Zoom Pow like little
Zoom Pow.
there. Yeah.
You guys come up with your own words, and that's interesting. Yeah.
Well, what about you, Mao?
I'm gonna spend like a couple of minutes talking about Tesla chart. I think we could move on.
Ooh, it's a giraffe.
Welcome to the year of the SNCC. It looks like a SNCC with like a couple of legs actually, but this is the monthly chart of Tesla. Right now, we're developing something that is very, very nicely bullish. You can see that Bollinger Band is expanding to upside and downside, and the 20-month moving average is curling up. You have the same look pretty much before every single big giant parabolic move here and also here. I think this move right here is a little bit more like it just looks a lot more impulsive than this little tiny move right there. I think it's gonna keep on going up for a while. Now, if I'm going to not do the Bollinger Band, but I'm going to do the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, I just want to show one thing here because I really do think that right now we're at a very, very similar juncture where we were at around COVID. I think we spent about like 3 years trying to break through the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. Here's resistance the entire time. It was getting really, really frustrated. It was asking to grow up for a very, very long time using various methods, manipulation, guilt trip, like dates, chocolate, whatever you name it. They tried, right? Eventually, I was able to get the girl out to the date, and next thing you know, it got really, really happy. 2 or 4, it needed to cool down here, kind of like how it did over here, like before COVID happened. I don't think it's going to do this thing right here because that was like a really weird kind of thing that it was a true black swan event. But liquidity ended up being pumped in the system anyway, just ended up, keep on putting stock up like it was supposed to. So I don't think it has to do this big giant thing right over here, but I do think that there is a possibility, just like what Masby is saying, that it could go down to 350 to backtest the 10 conversion line over there. I don't know if it's going to happen because you have 2 very, very nice wicks over here, which means that there is still a lot of demand, even in like the high 300s. So I'm not sure is that necessarily going to come back and like backtest 350. But shall it do that? Yeah, I think it's probably a good buying opportunity, unless you think Tesla's got COVID this year. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show. So
I like that Bollinger Band where it's expanding again on the monthly chart.
Yeah, everybody likes the Bollinger Band expansion. It's very illustrative. I think it tells you. I think Danny loves like the Bollinger Band expansion. He loves it. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that if you're wondering when to take profit, if you don't want to like day trade, if you just want to ride the cycle, I think the cycle is probably going to go a lot higher. A lot of people got scared whenever prices up at 500, it just plummet all the way down to like 377 or whatever. And things just went down 30%. It didn't change the trend here at all. All it did was just way outside the upper Bollinger Band on a monthly. It just had to come back down to earth. So we ended up spending earlier in the month touching the upper Bollinger Band here. Touched it, no longer way too far overextended. We're fine. Over here, what happened during the last cycle before COVID happened, we're way outside the upper Bollinger Band. You got a candle that's like in space, right? This is a very, very toppy candle.
Outer space.
Yeah, somebody knew something in February, and they're just distributing it all to you by pump it all the way up here, way outside the upper Bollinger Band, and sure enough, they just end up plummeting the stock down, right? So we're not really seeing that. We're still touching the upper Bollinger Band, so we're not nearly as overextended as we are over here. That's why I'm not sure we're going to have the candle that wicks all the way down to the 20-month moving average, which right now would be like 240s, 250s. I don't think that's going to happen unless we get a Tesla COVID. So that's kind of all I have to say about that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Somebody else take over, please.
Well, what else are we going to talk about? I mean,
Well,
is there anything
Bitcoin,
else?
of course. Bitcoin
wait,
and
did you-
XRP.
Did you? Yeah, I think you mispronounced XRP in the first three letters.
Ask for MSTR, it looks like.
Oh yeah, MSTR. We can. Well, let's do Bitcoin first, and then we'll
Okay.
just
Yeah, that's
transition into.
Take over, guys. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so let's look at what Bitcoin's been doing, and it's been getting rejected massively all the time by this 103,611 all the time, right? Week over week over week, it cannot close candles above, so that is resistance. But the good news is, when you go on linear scale here, it did close the week above the 1.618 on linear scale last week, and it did open the new candle above. So this actually has potential to maybe just start closing candles on top of the 102.076. And also with the Ichimoku, we can see that it did already wick down below the conversion line. So this is your support. So I don't know if it really needs to go any lower. And one last thing before I run away is the channel here. This Fibonacci channel is still holding perfectly as support. Like back here, I've been showing this every Tuesday now, how this was a previous support, flipped to resistance, and now it's back on top as support. And that kind of coincides with that Ichimoku conversion line too, around the 99,000. And like I said before, I think the cycle top is once again going to be this channel right here, just like it was in 2017, like it was in 2021. And that means it's going to be maybe 280s, 260s, 300s, depending on time. That's going to be the cycle top.
Oh yeah.
So
I've got my money on 280 right now.
280.
Yeah, I'm looking for it to hit fast, hard and fast.
Anybody got 281? 281?
next
Huh?
week.
The more I look at the chart, the more I think something crazy like 500,000 or 600,000 can happen.
So you think it's going to go to the blue channel up here?
It's
Just going to like just skyrocket past it and go up way up here?
I mean, it's possible, or it can just be, and I hate to say this because it's a little bit sacrilegious, can be dangerous to say, but it could be a little bit of an extended cycle.
Well, I mean, people are saying it's going to end this year, but you and I both think at least 2026. And if it's 2026 and that blue level, then that's going to be like 700, 800,000, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that could be a possibility right there.
Wow.
And if that's the case, what is MicroStrategy going to do? Like 17 million?
Please let it do that.
I kind of don't want it to do that because they're chicken genius, but that's just my personal, yeah.
Well, speaking of MicroStrategy, I'll just jump into that real quick before I hand it over. And yeah, what I'm really watching for MicroStrategy is this 1.414 for weekly candle closes, and that is 340. And it has really been spending more time on top of it than underneath it, and it's really trying to hold it even this week. Right, it was spending some time above it today, and it's a little bit below, and it is kind of back below this 45-degree angle too, which when you go zoom out, it was a resistance. So it's really trying to flip it to a support too. So this is really the goal area to close above, like maybe 352, 356 in the future, and then just kind of slowly grind higher until it breaks above this resistance zone here in the 540s again. So yeah, I mean, the blue level held perfectly. It did not close that gap. I don't think it needs to, but as long as that 300, the 300 holds, I don't think it really needs to go any lower. So MicroStrategy is fine. It's just cooling off after a monster move. I mean, mind you, this is log scale. It's already reached the 1.618 on log scale. So this is why it's taking more time to cool off, because no other stock has reached the 1.618 besides like NVIDIA and Palantir and whatever. Not even Palantir, right? On log scale? No, it's on linear scale it did, but not on log scale. Yeah, so not very many have hit that yet, but MicroStrategy did. So that's why it's taking more time to cool off.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, anybody else? Take it away, Bitcoin, MicroStrategy.
Show my MicroStrategy. If I just see something interesting here. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
So I've been doing a lot. It's different than harmonics, but it actually is like this mirroring. So you kind of see this like I'm sure it's a Gartley if somebody measured it with and then after so from here to here like and then we see this massive drop here. But what really catches my attention is this candle right here because when I see this sort of thing, that's the way this is going to do. It's going to replicate this candle, and that's going to be a very nice day for for MSTR owners because you see that mirroring in the stock price. It will replicate that candle. You already see the Gartley like right here from here to like here. I'm sure if somebody measured that, and then we have this massive down move. Yeah, but I love that candle right there.
So
I'll
big
love
and
it.
red.
It. Yeah.
Let's see. I could show my Bitcoin chart where I show it's going to 178,000.
Yeah, that's nice.
There we go. Thanks, Matt. So let's see. You are here at 102,760 right now. So this is my wave from back here when it was 15,479 is my wave start. My wave one was that almost 73,688 in 2025, back down to 49,647. And so now we're in the wave three, the longest and strongest wave. And actually this 3-4 is done. Is it already done? It is already done. 3-4 is done. Got to the 1382, back to the 100%, almost. It didn't even go to the 100% fib. And now it's ready to go to the 2382. And it's up 179,832. But I picked 178.22 because that's exactly where this Gann line is. I just thought I did this Gann chart. I like the Gann chart. I'm going to use the Gann chart line. Let's see. I know it's kind of hard to see, but right here was that first Gann line, about 71,000. Then the next one here, where it back tested it to about 91,000. Then after that, oh, we're not there yet. It's at 124,000. So that's the next big resistance that I see. 124,000 for this horizontal Gann line right here. Then once it can get over that and make it support, I mean, in fact, I don't even look at it as coming back down to it. If it can get into this Gann arc up here, and then 178,000 for this Gann horizontal line right here. And it lines up with my fibs, so I like it for 2 points of confluence, both my Gann chart and this fib extensions. So there you go. That's my top of cycle target. Maybe in August? No, that can't be right. It's going to have to take a little longer. It might be January of 2026. But right now, the way I've got it drawn, it kind of looks like August of 2025. So there you go. That's my Bitcoin to 178,000.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to show a 3-month MicroStrategy chart. And this is the Ichimoku cloud for the 3-month MicroStrategy chart. Now, obviously, is fundamentally is a very different company now ever since 2020 compared to what it was before, right? Before, it was just an overhyped shell company that ran all the way up during the dot-com bubble. And when the dot-com bubble crashed, it really crashed all the way along with it. You actually see a lot of repairment all the way up to the great financial crisis here. And during this entire pump up, it reclaimed the blue line, the conversion line from resistance here into support. Came back over here, had a bullish cross actually right around the great financial crisis, but unfortunately, things just got a little bit overextended. It was looking a little bit exhausted, so it had to correct. And I guess if you look at, like, if you care about the whole macro instead of just looking at chart count thing, I guess it goes along with the liquidity cycle. It just plummeted down together with the great financial crisis. Oscillated around here for a very long time. Broke inside the cloud here. This is the leading span A. This is the beginning of the immature cloud, right? It's the bottom of the cloud. Broke through the cloud. Kind of went around, like, do nothing for another 10 years or something like that. And guess what it did? Around 2020, it started buying Bitcoin. Right around the time when it started buying Bitcoin, what happened? Well, it broke through the cloud, it broke out of the cloud, and during COVID, it backtested the bottom of the cloud here almost perfectly, right? And then after that, came backtested the top of the cloud here almost perfectly. And then it ran up together with the last cycle, went really, really bullish. But guess what? It went a little bit too far, too fast. And it just ended up having both the conversion and the baseline over here, end up crossing, and having a bearish cross over here, and just end up being resistance here for the entire year, right? It back tested this whole zone here for the entire year of 2021, was not able to break through above. Guess what happens when you try and push through resistance? You're not going to push through. Well, you plummet, right? Where are you going to plummet to? You're going to plummet to the next support level. Where's the next support level? Is the Ichimoku cloud. Came back down to Ichimoku cloud, spanned about a whole year down here, back testing it throughout 2022 and early 2023. It was able to find support here. So what does it do, right? Based on technically speaking, well, it's going to gravitate up because it found really good footing. So it ends up pushing up above. You're able to break through the resistance here with this big giant candle over here around the Q1 of 2024. Really flipped the conversion and the baseline back from resistance back into support. Had a bullish crossover here, right? You back tested it twice, 2 quarters in a row, right? Found support, it pushed up, right? Guess where we're at right now? We're still above. Like this whole history right here is the entire history of what MicroStrategy did based on Ichimoku Cloud, and how it basically ended up just plummeting down, did a bunch of repairing, broke through the cloud, broke through the Tenkan Nikishin or conversion baseline, and right now we're not done yet. Where are we at right now? We are trying to break through this wick over here at the dot-com bubble top, and we're having a hard time doing it. It shouldn't take into account because fundamentally it's a very, very different company, but algorithms don't care. Algorithm really, really doesn't care. You're absolutely correct. This is a katana on the way up because the Tenkan Nikishin or the conversion baseline are fused, and currently price action is above that. And this is a 3-month chart, so it could keep going up for quite some time.
Oh yeah,
because you flip resistance over here from resistance here to support, right? And this is a 3-month chart. So when you flip some long-term resistance here to long-term support, and you came back down and back to the very important support and held, this is what happens. This is what happens when this. Anyway, I got a little bit too excited. I'm going to shut up.
oh, that's awesome! I love it.
Yeah.
Can I show? Am I sharing? Let me see. I'll switch back. I don't think I am. Can you guys see my screen?
Matt's just got to take a second to pull you around.
Yeah, Matt's probably bored. He's like, I don't know what he's doing.
No, who wants it? Who wants?
Heidi wants to show her screen.
Are you guys? Can you see it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't have dual monitors here. I just wanted to show you this wonderful little cup that started in March 24. And we made this nice cup pattern here. It is on RSI, but it doesn't matter. It uses price as its input. And then we kind of did this little handle right here. But you also can look at it as basically an inverse head and shoulders, right? So
Yeah.
this around here, like May 6th of 24, and then we've got this bullish divergence here. And then we've got, what is this past month. So and that's what made me look at it. Like this on Bitcoin to me looks like we are about to retest some of these highs up here and at least see where we get because of this inverse head and shoulders. That's on the 3-day chart. And I like to look at the 3-day as to what leads to the weekly. But I mean, on the 3-day chart is not going to be that far away before this sort of does its thing. Yeah,
That's
actually,
cool.
I love this. The weekly right here, the compression here between this wave right here and this one right here, you see the compression? This is a breakout. That's a breakout on the weekly.
I love how Heidi sees waves just the same way I do, with like,
But
large energy and then attenuation, compression.
yeah, I don't know Elliott wave. I'm trying though. I may end up having to teach myself because I look at waves, like I love waves because I see patterns. Like I can pull
Exactly.
this up like a crazy person and see a pattern in this. and be like, oh, it's breaking out tomorrow. And then I'll go post like it's breaking out tomorrow. And that's kind of crazy, but I can see patterns in the waves.
That's a
It's
super
the
valuable
it's
skill.
it's the tingling around the lips before it breaks out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
God, it's gross.
this is why we don't let you. You should not have access to Grok at all. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look at Bitcoin. This looks like it might be setting up maybe to come back here, test down here. This is on the weekly. Let's see. I have some FIP channels. Look at me set up already. Sorry.
Yeah. Whoa, that's a really interesting chart.
But why do you like my
Yeah, no, it's just some candles are thicker than the others. It's just
Oh, because
yeah.
it's based on volume.
Got it. Very
Oh,
interesting
cool.
visualization. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a very visual, like I said, I pick up on patterns.
Yeah.
So I know all the Japanese candlesticks, but I like to see it in comparison
Yeah.
to the volume actually. So like especially if I'm day trading or
This is
doing a
awesome.
swing trade. I'm sorry, what?
No, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's lovely. But I really like the way this chart is. I mean, obviously this is not great, but if I had to guess, I could find a pattern in here, and I bet you it doesn't come back and test this, but we'll see. That's on the 2-hour. Because this does look pretty heavy coming down here, but yeah. I mean, I love Bitcoin. I think that it's going to break out. It's just a matter of time. I think we're going to just repeat these patterns, but that RSI looked to me like we don't have long.
I think it's ready as well. I don't think it's going to go down that much further anymore. It did what it had to do to
Yeah, let me read
grab
it.
enough liquidity, but who knows? Who knows what it wants to do?
But what about coin? Is coin ready?
Coin's been ready. It's
I
already
hope
bottomed.
it's got fits. Let's see.
Yeah, coin's already had the tingling like long ago.
Oh,
And just a reminder, like as Bitcoin goes these days, so Tesla goes. So just keep that in mind. When Bitcoin runs, Tesla gets to run too.
yeah, this is my coin chart. I don't know if you guys are still.
Nice trend.
Yeah, I was tracking these so I could go long here. But yeah, so I mean, in the very short run, which is what I'm better at than probably the longer term, you've got this nice little pattern here that I see in here. I'd have to look at so see if I see anything really, but I mean, it's right up against, what is that? Probably monthly support. I'd have to look, maybe quarterly. I don't have my glasses on. I should, but yeah, I mean, I think the chart looks good. Even if it falls back, it's just going to be a gift. Because when I looked at weekly and monthly, the chart looks good.
It's the same consolidation with no volume that you're seeing before the breakout.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Your chart actually illustrates it very perfectly. Like there's no volume in this consolidation. It's forming a bull flag. It looks ready. So
Yeah, no, I mean,
It keeps building a base on top of like the highs earlier this year too. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it just great chart. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see any issues.
Yeah, no issues here. You want to have Matt finish up with XRP so we can
Yes. I was going to actually suggest that.
Well, I mean, Scottie Pippen posted, now is the time to take the biggest risk of your life. So, I mean, if Scottie Pippen is saying that, then I think you guys got to do it, right? And by that, he means buy XRP, I'm pretty sure. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yay, go Bulls.
Because, I've got this big position XRP now. Like I'm checking it like 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
Really?
And I feel like it's ready. It's very close to going to its next, the next stage.
Yeah. So
really time frame. So I should buy, right?
Well,
yeah, just keep your arms wide open and see whether or not it takes you higher. That's understand it. Yeah,
What- Jeez. Somebody loves Creed, huh? Yeah. So I love this fib for XRP, and it's from the 2013 high to the 14 low, and it illustrates support and resistance so perfectly throughout time, and just building that 6-year base on top of that 1.272 and the 1.414 and the 1.618. And now look where we are. We're at the 2.272, rejected back in 2018, and now it's trying to break above. So this is what I see, and put my GAN back on, and we can see that it has not closed a week above it. But when you go to the daily chart, you can see it has spent quite a few days on top of it. It's just they closed last week. This red candle was a Sunday, so of course they didn't want to close the week above it, so they just sent it lower, and then they went back up. And then the same thing happened on last Sunday too. It was above, and then they sent it lower, and then that huge liquidity grab down there. And when I put on the Ichimoku with it for the daily chart, we can see that all it did is go back down and test the baseline, and this daily chart still has not even touched the daily cloud. Like, that's how bullish this chart really is, and it's also still on top of the conversion line and the baseline. So I think, yeah, it's just buying time to eventually break out of this 309986. I think once it starts to really close weekly candles on top of it, then it's going to be ready. But until then, it might just keep psyching you out, like, oh, it's gonna go, like earlier today. Oh, it went up to 320. It's gonna go. Nope, joking, haha. So yeah, it's just gonna take more time. And also, it also back tested the weekly conversion line almost perfectly too. Went down to 265. It was 264.955. So I think it's almost ready. It's just might need more time. It is very extended though from the cloud, so it could gravitate sideways for a bit longer. But I think given the momentum and the strength in the daily chart, I think it's almost ready.
You mean it's stuck in its own prison right now, but it's gonna what if it breaks out? I'm torn. What's this life for? I think it's just gonna sacrifice, like my sacrifice. And so, it's gonna take its one last breath before before it asks who's got my back, so it can overcome and become one.
Jeez. But I'm still sticking by where these two intersect right here. This is maybe March 10th of 2024. It's going to be $9. I'm sticking to that still, because the intersection, I love when things intersect, and the 2.618 and the ARC right there, March 10th, 2025.
I like it.
So we'll see.
Thank goodness I bought like 20 XRP back in it's like $1.20. I'm good.
Well, I think Tracker bought in like the 60s or 50s, but then he sold it all and then rebought higher.
I tried to trade. I tried to trade it and no, I lost so much in fees basically.
He's got so much of the trader tinglies. That,
I get those. I get the wanting to trade feeling. Otherwise I get bored.
I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when it's a bull market, it is very boring because you don't do anything. You just watch it, like, oh god, another up day. Oh, here we go again.
Even I'm tempted to like sell Palantir, but I still don't find a reason to do it yet.
Wait, so. I thought we said Palantir had a in its fifth wave. Shouldn't that be a reason?
I think it's wave 3 I think it's in wave 3 right now. I don't know where wave 3 is going to end.
Oh, I thought RBB said wave 4.
I think I changed my
difference of opinions.
Difference of opinion. I mean, I look at waves in terms of Bollinger Japan too, because I always thought that wave 1
would you show your then? I would like to see that. Do you mind?
Well, before you do that, Kat, what wave is this for XRP right here?
Yeah, tell us the wave.
It's wave 3. That's what it is. I mean,
this is wave 3 for.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you look at the higher time frame, like, I think charting guy says like this could be like wave 5. You know, like the whole wave 4 is like the big giant decade long consolidation, which is ridiculous. long consolidation. So like this could be wave 5, you know.
But if it's wave 3, then this is going to be your target, right? Like right here at 2,700.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I
that's
don't know.
right.
Maybe it's possible. It could be wave 3. I mean, I actually think a lot of things are in wave 3 right now. I think a lot of people are calling wave 5s like a little bit too prematurely, or a lot of people think that the pullback for like the big giant wave 3. A lot of people think that the pullback of the wave 3 is the wave 4, but it's hard to call because when wave 3 happens, it's so impulsive that a lot of people end up like just taking profits early. So nobody really knows how far wave 3 goes. Nobody knows how far wave 3 goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
charting guy does think it's over pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like months away.
Yeah, charting guy thinks it's over pretty soon in terms of like timing and cycle. Like I actually think he's been sticking to his conviction that the cycle ends a little bit earlier, but I'm not seeing it, guys. I mean, I still see things are going a little bit higher for longer.
All you gotta pay attention to, in my opinion, is the others market cap right here. It hasn't even broken into all-time highs, so this is nowhere near being over, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nowhere
All right, guys, I'm getting close to my hard cap of 9 p.m. So thank you thank you, Heidi, for joining.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
sharing your perspective. Yeah, it was awesome. So I don't have to hear this like tracker med guy talk all the time. No,
Heidi came prepared. She came with such a great presentation.
Well, I don't know if it was
AI space,
but I hope you guys. I hope it helped because I know that a lot of people in my timeline are very confused as to what this all means and why it would affect NVIDIA. An interesting point. I know it's getting close to 9, but OpenAI CEOs in India today, and they asked Sam, they're like, "What's your response to DeepSeek?" And he said, it doesn't touch us for foundational, which essentially means he understands it kicks his butt for text chat. So that was an interesting ad because for foundational, obviously that's not what it chooses to compete on. It's doing text, not inference. So, anyways, that was an interesting response to him to the media to add on to my presentation.
I thought he was just gonna sing "Can't Touch This" and then just.
That's what he should have done and did. Right?
don't.
It's almost like he wasn't even prepared. Like he didn't think that people were going to ask that question like during a media event. Like that's part of the problem. I think that's part of the problem why this company has been able to accomplish some of the things, or at least I think it's been able to accomplish.
Yeah, I still am not that impressed with OpenAI, to be honest, with ChatGPT.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, obviously we use Sonnet mostly in my company, but for different purposes.
yeah. So there might be some like arrogance that needs to be woken up, to be completely honest. So that's
Absolutely, and this might be the catalyst for that. I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's great. So yeah. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, it was useful to some of your.
Oh yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you offline what you think about Cloudflare. I think I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks, Tracker. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Heidi. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.